Welcome back, everybody. What's up, Inside Fighting? Welcome back to another weekly episode of Insider Betting. This is the show where we give you guys our best picks and predictions for whichever UFC card is next Saturday. This Saturday, we have UFC Shanghai Fight Night in China. Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyang. It's a good one. Middleweight belts. Middleweights is probably the best division in the UFC right now. And it's an early one. This one starts at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time, the main card. And I believe the prelims start at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. So this one's for the dedicated fans. I'm not sure I'm going to be staying up for it. Maybe I do a crazy Red Bull stream. Sponsor us Red Bull, and I'll stay up all night for that one. But we'll see about it. I like the card. I like some fights on the prelims. We see Lonier Kavanaugh taking on Charles Johnson. That's going to be a fun one at flyweight. And there's some other good fights on this card. I'm excited for this card. I'll probably watch the highlights. Probably won't watch it live. But what are your first thoughts about this card, and are you going to be watching this one?
Am I going to be watching this one? It's a tough take. It's going to be an interesting card. I think you can probably set up IG while I get my little show.
Yes.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. Like Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyang means absolutely nothing for anything. Zhang he's on a bit of a win streak here, but it's only his fourth fight in the UFC. It kind of feels like they're setting up Johnny Walker. They're sending him to the Wolves for this first card, or for this main card here. But yeah, just because Zhang is Chinese. Ortega Aljo should be a decent fight. Probably a bit of a snoozer, to be honest. The feature fight's gonna be the most fun for sure, though, with Sergey Pavlovich taking on Waldo Cortes Acosta. But we'll break it all down. I'm gonna pull up our little slides here so everybody can see what's going on.
I think a few of those fights have potential to be exciting. I think the co-main event could be sparks flying. We'll see.
Could be. We're live on all platforms. Let's do it. First up, we got. I don't even know.
I could help you out with this one.
Yeah, you got me. All right, let's hear it out.
Taya Lake Naraji.
I'm gonna say you killed that, bro. I believe Taya Lake here is Chinese as well, so they're opening up the main card with a Chinese fighter, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna look that up before I get called out for being racist in the comments. He is Chinese. He's from Chenzhou, Sichuan, China. He's going up against Kiefer Crosby. And this is a weird little matchup we got going on here. Because you almost have like two prospects coming in. You have one guy who's making his debut. The other guy, this is only his third fight in the UFC. But then one of them is a 24-year-old prospect. The other one's a 34-year-old prospect, which is kind of weird. I actually think he's 35. So I think that's wrong on the graphics. But I don't know much about Asian MMA. But it looks like Nuraji here has been in a few different promotions leading up to the UFC. He's currently on a 5-fight finish streak, with 4 of those ending by knockout and the other by arm triangle. And then Kiefer Crosby is going into his 3rd fight in the UFC. He's lost the first 2 by submission, so I don't think Nuraji is going to be much of a submission threat, which is good for Kiefer Crosby here. But it's just weird, man. Like, I have no clue how someone like Crosby made it into the UFC in the first place. I'm happy for him. Don't get me wrong. Like, whatever, give him his flowers for making it. But he went 3 for 3 in Bellator, and then he got 2 knockouts after that, which basically got him into the UFC. But he's only like, I think he only has like 4 wins in his last 7 or something like that. Like, he's not that hot right now. So I don't know. When you have like a 24-year-old prospect going up against a 34-year-old prospect, you have the young guy got into the UFC because he has a lot of potential. He's very technically skilled. And then you have the old guy that a lot of the time just got a few knockouts, and that got him into the UFC. So that's kind of what happened here. And I got Nuraji. I think he's minus 440 for a reason. He's fighting at home to make his debut. He's not going up against anyone who's had any success in the UFC. So it should be pretty much a cakewalk for him, I'd say.
Kiefer Crosby, I disagree. I don't think this guy's a prospect at all. He's lost to Sam Patterson and Kevin Joycett. Both of those guys are bigger prospects than Kiefer Crosby.
I use the word prospect pretty loosely. When I say prospect, I just mean new guy in the UFC trying to make it, and like that's what he is. Like, I don't understand why the UFC brings in guys past the age of 30 to make their debut unless they're on a fucking heater, which like Kiefer Crosby was never on. But sorry, I cut you off there.
No, yeah, 0-2 in the UFC. You wouldn't want to bet this guy up against an actual prospect. And these are the types of fight prospects should be getting given when they come into the UFC from other organizations. They shouldn't be like Aaron Pico fighting a 16-0 undefeated fighter whose next fight is going to be for the title. It makes no sense when they line up these guys out of the promotion to fight somebody in the promotion who's undefeated. This guy is 0-2 in this promotion. Naraji, I've checked out his Tapology. He has a lot of round one finishes. This guy has a significant reach advantage on Crosby here. I think he's going to showcase his striking. I don't see this one going to the ground. If it does go to the ground, it's going to be from takedown attempts out of desperation from Kiefer Crosby, who's getting frustrated on the feet, getting frustrated at range. I think Naraji is going to have his debut here. Hopefully a knockout, hopefully a performance of the night bonus. And I mean, welterweight's such a fun division. It would be nice to get some new prospects coming up. And Naraji is probably going to be one of these guys, especially with what he's been able to do in other promotions in the first round with the knockouts. I think he's got the skills to get it done over Kiefer Crosby. I just don't see where Kiefer could win this fight.
Yeah, it feels like you got like a bar brawler going up against like an actual, like a mixed martial artist, Yeah. So it's a bit of an interesting take here. But next up on the main card, we got Su Mudaerji going up against Kevin Boryas. They're both very similarly styled fighters. I don't have too big of a breakdown, but they're similar styled fighters. They're both strikers with good takedown defense. Su Mudaerji might shoot a takedown here and there, but it's not very likely. Maybe we see it a little bit more here against someone like Kevin Boryas. Kevin Boryas never going to shoot. He's going to try to stand up on the feet and keep the fight that way. He's going to try to take advantage of his striking. But just like they're both similarly styled fighters, they're also both not very good. Su Mudaerji is 4-4 in the UFC. Kevin Boryas is 1-3 in the UFC. They're both coming off of wins. Kevin Boryas, pretty big win for him against Ronaldo Rodriguez. Maybe it shows us that Ronaldo Rodriguez isn't that good, but going into that fight and the narrative behind Ronaldo Rodriguez was that he's actually a pretty decent fighter and he just needed to prove himself, which he wasn't able to do against Kevin Boryas. And it looks like Kevin is kind of hopefully work towards winning a little bit more in the UFC. His losses are against Josh Van is one of them. So that's like a pretty big prospect. Su Mudaerji, he's got more experience in the UFC. He's fought bigger fighters. He's fought Charles Johnson. He's fought Tim Elliott, who we just saw got to get a win last week. He's fought Matt Schnell as well. Like all people who aren't necessarily stars, but they're more vets, right? But overall, for some reason, my gut is telling me that Kevin Boryas is the better striker. Everything on paper should make me lean towards Su Mudaerji, and I understand why he's the favorite. He's the taller fighter. He's got the longer reach. He lands more. He gets hit less. But something just tells me that this South American Kevin Boryas is going to bring the toughness. He's going to be hard to get out of there, and he's going to be hard to finish. And I'm going with Kevin. I think that if Kevin wins, it'll be like a finish. I think he'll get a knockout. And if it goes to decision, that's where I'm kind of 50-50. I think Su can maybe outstrike him a bit to win a couple of rounds. But yeah, really, really big toss up for this fight. But I'm going with Kevin here.
I have a similar take. I think this one has big underdog potential, as we like to say. Su Mudaerji is really good. As you said, he has the reach. He's favorited. This is in his area of the world, not Kevin Boryas, but Kevin Boryas is very good. And I like the style of these two fighters. I think, like you said, if it goes to decision, I'm probably leaning Su Mudaerji. He's probably going to win the first, second round. Or Kevin Boryas is probably going to win the first round. Su Mudaerji is going to win the second two. I see him leaning in the decision. If it goes that far, Kevin Boryas probably has the finishing potential in this fight. He's way more durable, in my opinion. He's been tested. He's been hit hard by really good guys. I believe he had to fight with Joshua Van. He lost that one, though. So he's fought some good names. It seems like to me, whenever Sumadarji, he fights up in competition against like a Tim Elliott or a Charles Johnson, a bigger name, he loses those fights by a decision. So Kevin Borjas, I do believe that his name is rising. Maybe Kevin Borjas by decision. We're saying he wins by a knockout here, but maybe he just does bring the fight to Sumadarji this whole fight, and maybe he just walks him down and makes this one look easy, gets a unanimous decision here. I think he's going to have more output than Sumadarji. I think he's going to be the one advancing because he doesn't want to stay counter-striking with somebody who has a longer reach than him. He's going to be trying to break the distance, use his kicks, attack leg kicks, break him down, probably use some grappling in this one as well. I think Kevin Borjas is the pick here. I don't understand that he's this big of an underdog. I see more potential in him than I see in Sumadarji, so I'm going to ride with Kevin Borjas here.
Yeah, I like that. Hometown upset. Before we go on to the co-main or the feature fight of the night, I see everybody watching here in the chat. I see our numbers going up, going down, whatever, but the chat is just dead today. We should let's get some messages in there. What do you guys got for this fight for Sergey Pavlovich?
Some energy.
Acosta? Yeah, let's get some energy. This in my opinion is gonna be the most entertaining fight of the night. We got Sergey Pavlovich taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta. And realistically, it should be the co-main event. And the reason I say it should be the co-main event or even the main event is because this fight actually matters. The next two fights don't really matter for title contention. This fight could actually decide who fights for the title next. Waldo Cortez Acosta, he's on a 5-fight win streak, taking on the number 3 ranked guy, Sergey Pavlovich. You have Aspinall, he's already booked to fight Cyril Gane in October. And then number 2 is Volkov, who's currently booked to fight Jailton Almeida. But Volkov's coming off of a loss. Jailton Almeida is on a bit of a run, but I think the UFC would probably prefer one of these guys to fight for the title versus like Jailton Almeida to fight for the title. And even Volkov, he's not deserving of a title shot because he just lost to Cyril Gane. Even if he beats White and Ngannou, Pavlovich is going to run through him. That's hilarious. It's a crazy take. Anyways, Waldo Cortez Acosta, he's fast, he's athletic, he's a high volume striker who can mix it up here and there. And I really think we got a big underdog potential win here. He's probably my underdog of the night that I'm really high on. And yes, I know Sergey Pavlovich is super dangerous. He has 15 wins by knockout in his 19 wins, and his only recent losses are against Volkov and Aspinall. But I think Waldo Cortez Acosta, he's just a little bit better in everything. He's higher volume. I think he's a little bit more athletic. I think he's a little bit faster. I would even give him a bit of the grappling edge, even though on paper it doesn't show. But Sergey Pavlovich took down Jairzinho Rozenstruik twice in his last fight. Cool. Before that, he didn't have a takedown in any UFC fights except for his debut. So I'll give Cortez Acosta a bit of an edge there, and I think he's going to get the win. I'm really high on Waldo here. I think he's kind of dialed in recently, and we've really seen him with the fight streak he's been on.
Yeah, perfect step up in competition for Waldo Cortez Acosta here. I'm not sure why he's this big of an underdog. I guess Vegas still sees Sergey Pavlovich as a top contender, as a title contender. I do not see that. I stopped believing in that after the Alexander Volkov fight, where this was his best friend from time, and then they beefed in the ring after he lost, and they tried to hug it out, and he wouldn't hug him. I was like, now he's washed. And then he fought Yair Rozenstruik, and that fight was embarrassing. That fight sucked, man. If you watched that fight live, you fell asleep during it, I bet. Sergey shot those two takedowns in desperation because Yair was actually giving them problems on the feet, although these guys weren't even moving. They weren't even walking each other down. It was just literally standing punch for punch. It was very Jairzinho, Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
Yeah. Not Yair Rodriguez, bro.
No, I wasn't thinking Yair Rodriguez.
Just I know you weren't. The name is similar, yeah.
Yeah, when I edit his name, I just spell Yair and I don't spell the whole Yair Rozenstruik. My bad on that. But yeah, so back to where I was. Pavlovich, don't believe in this guy. Waldo, he's been gaining my respect. He's been gaining respect in the division. Sorry, I kind of got off track there, but I'm going to go Waldo Cortez Acosta on this one for sure.
Nice. And Musty, that answers your question, brother. Yeah, we both got Waldo. I think Waldo is I don't think he's gonna run through him, but I think it's gonna be like a very slow build up and he's just gonna outperform him in everything that Pavlovich tries to do here.
Pavlovich isn't that good. He's pretty one-dimensional, to be fair. And
he's super one-dimensional.
Waldo is the new age UFC fighter where he's good pretty much everywhere. And this is like another stepping stone. Every fight he's had to step up in competition with Rabes de Spain to Ryan Spann to Sergey Spivak, the polar bear, and now he's fighting Pavlovich. This would be a great win. This would catapult him into a number one contender fight and then hopefully fight for a title.
Yeah, we got Muncie in here saying Borjas by KO. I do have KO potential for Borjas. We both picked Borjas to win there, but it's hard. It's hard to count on the knockout. It could go to decision. We've seen it happen before. Then we got Brandon Williams. Did y'all predict Zhang by KO? I missed the first part of the stream. Don't worry, we're getting to it. But yes, I got Zhang by KO. But we'll break it down in just a couple fights here. And then Rusty, man, I think Sergey is easily going to bonk him. I don't know, man. Like, yes, Sergey is an elite striker, and he's performed really well. But and I know this is going to be a bad example because this guy had zero success in the UFC. But like last time Waldo Cortez Acosta fought a super one-dimensional fighter, it was Rabes de Spain. And Rabes de Spain, all he can do is strike. And since he's left the UFC, we've seen him laying people out left and right. I think the problem is, damn, y'all got Rusty and Musty in chat. we do. But yeah, I just think that when he fights these one-dimensional fighters, he's able to mix it up a little bit more than those guys, and that's what's going to get him the win. Pavlovich only lost to elite guys. Heavyweight's so bad right now that these new guys aren't facing good guys that often. Same happened with Taliesin. He was a favorite too. Yeah, no, I feel that. And I think Pavlovich deserves to be the favorite here. Like, I think he's proven himself to be the favorite. I think Waldo is actually one of these new guys that can perform. He hasn't proven it on like a super elite level, but he's beating Sergey Spivak, who's pretty decent, ranked number 8 right now in the heavyweight division. Ryan Spann, Rabes de Spain, Andrei Arlovsky, who used to be really good. Obviously, he's getting old now. But like when you look at Sergey Spivak's most recent wins, he's got Tai Tuivasa, who was on a bit of a run, but hasn't been in a really long time. Curtis Blades, who's a very solid opponent. Jairzinho Rosenstrike, who's now fighting at DBX. Shout out DBX. We love them. And then he's lost to Volkov and Tom Aspinall. So it's a bit of a tough one. Brandon Williams, do y'all think this is over 1.5? I actually do. I don't think we're going to see an early knockout here. I think we've seen Pavlovich have his fights go on a little bit longer. I think that Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to take the first round to maybe feel it out. I think we might see a little bit of striking, but I think that, again, he's going to mix it up and he's not going to go for the finish right away. He's going to try to tire him out. He's going to try to take him down a couple times. I do think this is going to be a heavyweight fight that goes a little bit longer. It could end in the second round, though, so it just depends when in the second round to hit that over 1.5. Last comment, Rusty. Those big boys both like to throw hands, though. It'll be a fun one. I agree. It's going to be the most fun fight on the card, I think. I don't know, Cody, what do you
I wanted to let you finish. Yeah, I wanted to let you finish up. I do think Sergey Pavlovich is just favored here simply off the fact that he's a little bit tougher. We've seen him be durable throughout his career. He's always gone the distance with guys pretty much. Alexander Volkov went the distance as well, and that was only 2 fights ago. And arguably, Volkov is a more pressure fighter than Waldo Cortez Acosta. Going to be throwing the high kicks, going to be throwing kicks to the body. He's going to be throwing a lot of stuff that Waldo's going to be throwing. So I think this one probably goes to this decision. Probably Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to win a decision here. And I think he beats the shit out of Sergey Pavlovich in this one. I think his face is going to be mashed up. And I think Sergey is going to be one of those top 5, top 10 kind of guys. I don't think he's going to be fighting for a title anytime soon, where I think Waldo Cortez Acosta is earning it with every fight, every performance, getting better, showing improvements. And yeah, one more good fight here. Maybe give him, what's his name? Almeida, Jalton Almeida. And that could be a number 1 contender fight for Tom Aspinall. So I'm excited. I want to see Waldo Cortez Acosta be who I think he can be. So an underdog win here over Pavlovich, I think that's where it starts. So give me Acosta.
Yeah, it's funny because it's the UFC has like 2 number 1 title contender fights booked, and if either guy wins, they both kind of deserve a title shot. It's just who they want to give it to more, right? Because you have Almeida is fighting Volkov soon. That's number 5 versus number 2, and then you got Costa versus Pavlovich. That's number 6 versus number 3. But like, if Waldo Cortez Acosta wins here, you'd have to assume that they'd want him to fight Tom Aspinall because that would be a more fun fight than Jailton Almeida fighting anyone. And I think you're like right about Sergey Pavlovich. He's going to be a top 5, top 10 guy. I think he'll probably stick in the top 5. Like the heavyweight division is just kind of washed, honestly. Like they don't have that many good fighters. Like Sergey Pavlovich, if you look at everyone underneath him, like I think he still beats Curtis Blades. He still beats Jailton Almeida, or maybe that one's a little bit closer.
I don't know if he beats Curtis Blades even.
I don't know, but they're close, right? And that'd be like your top 5. And then you got like Marcin Tybura, Sergey Spivak, Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, and then the rest are even worse. So like he beats all those guys. The only
Derek Lewis beats the shit out of Sergey Pavlovich.
You think so?
I do.
Fair.
I think Teixeira has a fair chance to beat Sergey. I think Sergey is going to fall off here, guys. I really do. I don't understand the favorite here.
Interesting. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Co-main event, we got Brian Ortega taking on Aljamain Sterling. Brian Ortega, he's coming off of a loss to Diego Lopez, where he almost got knocked out, but he didn't. And he keeps proving time and time again that he's extremely tough and durable. His grappling's good. But I wouldn't count on his striking too much. I just think Brian Ortega is like old school UFC, where like these new guys that are more technical and like aren't just tough people are just better than him. And that's what Aljo really is. I think Aljo, he's the former bantamweight champion, and he's really just better all around. His only recent losses are against Evloev, which he actually really impressed in that fight because it was like a back and forth, takedown after takedown. It was a very, very technical fight on the ground that I think a lot of us didn't expect that Aljo would be on that level because Evloev has just been dominating people on the ground to make his way up in the featherweight division, right? Then you got his only other loss was against Sean O'Malley, which was in the title fight. But yeah, Aljo, better grappler, the better striker in this fight, honestly, which you can't really say against most people he fights. And I think he's just a better overall fighter. I think he's a 3-1 favorite for a reason. And I think it's going to be a very easy win for Aljo. I love Brian Ortega. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see him win here because I don't really care about Aljo winning. But I just think Aljo is just that better everywhere and like significantly better everywhere. Like I don't think like besides toughness, Ortega's got nothing on Aljo.
Yeah, hard work beats talent. Aljamain Sterling works harder than this guy. It's as simple as that. He's in the gym. He trains with champions. He was champion. He should. Yeah, the favorite makes sense in this fight. I'd like to see this one standing and banging. Brian Ortega said he would love for this one to be standing and banging. But, I mean, Aljamain Sterling, he has that backpack wrestling kind of style. He will just grip onto you like glue, like tape, and he will stay there. Whereas Brian Ortega, he's good at – I wouldn't even say he's good at wrestling. He's kind of good at jiu-jitsu where he could, like, counter you and lock in a submission. But he doesn't really have that offensive wrestling to his game. And, I mean, I saw this guy at the start of his training camp struggling to do wall sits. And then like 6 weeks later, he was finally being able to hold the wall sit for a minute. It's just outrageous that we're still seeing Brian Ortega in the top 5 here after having like one win in the last 5 years. It's horrendous. He needs to get out of the rankings. Aljamain Sterling needs to get to the top of the rankings. It's a good fight for him. He'll probably have a performance of the night bonus. He'll probably dominate here. I like the fight for Aljamain. I hate the fight for Brian Ortega because there's no way he could win this one. He's got to just land a lucky punch, and he's not Sugar Sean O'Malley. He's washed Brian Ortega, unfortunately. He had a really hot girlfriend. That's how we all kind of know him. We definitely don't remember him for what he's been doing in the UFC as of recently. I wish this was the old style of Brian Ortega where he had a style where it was like an actual clash of styles where he could frustrate fighters on the feet and have them not want to go to the ground with him because he's dangerous on the ground. But here, I don't see Aljamain Sterling being in any danger. This guy almost rolled his ankle in his last fight when he was just jumping before the fight during the introductions. He could be an even bigger underdog, and I wouldn't take him. Aljamain Sterling's the pick here. I'd love for him to find the finish. It's 5 rounds, so that's a big factor here as well. We'll see if Brian Ortega could even go 5 rounds with Aljamain. The style is going to be so grueling from Aljamain, so I got Aljamain Sterling winning here for sure.
Yeah, and to add on to your point of a 5-round fight, Utsuf AJ here said it pretty well. Ortega looks out of shape. People don't think this matters, but it definitely shows in the ring. Sterling takes it, in my opinion. 5-round fight only benefits Aljo. It doesn't even benefit Brian Ortega. And I saw Aljo was upset that it was a 5-round fight. He's like, I don't get paid anymore for this being a 5-round fight. So they're making me work longer. I think even if this fight is stand-up the entire 5 rounds, Aljo still wins. Like, that's how confident I am in Aljo. And when you look at their most recent fights, Aljo had more strikes against Evloev, like more against Calvin Kattar. He had less against Sean O'Malley, which is fine. He outstruck Henry Cejudo. He outstruck TJ Dillashaw. He went strike for strike with Peter Yan in their second fight. He outstruck Peter Yan in their first fight. Outstruck Pedro Munoz. Like, his strike, he's not going to knock you out, but he can hang, you know? And then you got Brian Ortega, hasn't outstruck anyone recently. Diego Lopez had more strikes. Yair Rodriguez more twice. Alex Volk had double the strikes in their fight. Ortega's just not the same fighter.
I totally agree, man. I can read this if you'd like.
Yeah, go for it.
I just wish Aljamain finishes the fight. He could get to anyone's back, but he needs to finish that choke. Thing is about thinking about the Yan fight where he controlled him round 2, round 3, but he couldn't finish. I don't think he needs the finish. I would like to see him find the finish, but like I said, Brian Ortega is kind of tricky when it goes to the ground, but Aljamain will stick to him like glue. So there's a fair chance that he gets submitted here. What he was able to do against Movsar Evloev, reverse positions and take him down, where this was a wrestling wrestler. Everyone thought Aljamain Sterling was just going to get dominated in the wrestling, and actually put on a quite good performance against Movsar. Was really impressive. He improves every time he gets into the octagon, where I think Brian Ortega is fading. I really do not know how this guy is ranked top 5 in the featherweight division.
It's so nuts, bro.
He was supposed to go up to lightweight after his fight with Diego Lopez, but because Diego Lopez was putting that punch on him and he was looking like he almost got knocked out, he's staying at featherweight. So he's kind of scared of the lightweight power. He's big enough for lightweight. He should be fighting at lightweight, and he's not. And I kind of like that. My feelings about Aljamain Sterling, since he's lost his championship, it's all been respect. He's been gaining my respect. I'm becoming more of a fan of him. I don't know what it is. Just when he was champion, he was kind of like trying to play the role of this cool, tough guy. And he's not that. He's a very humble man. He's a very humble guy. He's been through a lot of surgeries and injuries, and the amount of improvements he's made to his game to stay consistent, to stay disciplined, to stay having that goal of champion in your mind. I love Aljamain Sterling. He's going to get the win here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. We got Gaff Too Sick in the IG chat saying, I'm dead ass on the toilet right now. I'm shitting for real. No joke. Fun fact, this Saturday, the card goes live at 5 a.m. Cody's doing the entire watch party on the shitter.
I didn't know about this. When was this scheduled? That Evloev fight turned me into a fan of Aljo. Didn't like him before. I'm not going to lie. That fight was super impressive. He gained a lot of fans from that fight for sure.
Yeah. The casuals will tell you it was boring. And I'm 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to be a casual and I'm going to tell you that was boring, but you expected it going into that fight and you expected Evloev to just kind of dominate. But I think that, yeah, it built up his hype because it's like, oh shit, he's actually like really elite on the ground, like really up there with these top guys, and he's kind of proved himself.
Yeah, that was the best fight with wrestling in it of all that whole year. Like, that was just such an impressive.
Yeah, and a really long time. You can even put a few years in there, I think.
And I mean, Aljo, like, if he wins that fight, he could have been talked next to go fight for the title. So he's damn near close. And Brian Ortega couldn't be farther. So I don't know how he's ranked number 5. He's going to get dominated.
Yeah. Narrative combat casuals. Fuck you, bro. But you're right.
I disagree.
Yeah, Pedro in the IG chat. Pedro in the IG chat said it was a good take. Appreciate it, brother. Butte Minx in the chat also said I didn't even know Ortega was fighting. Yeah, I don't know why he is. Narrative combat. I'm just joking. No, I know I'm fucking with you, bro. But
he rage baited you so hard you actually got pressed.
No, I'm we should have tags on the we gotta have tags on the lives that like under my name it says casual and on like yours it says like actual fan or something like that.
Expert pro analyst.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Main event, we got Johnny Walker taking on Zhang Mingyang. This main event is honestly fucking nuts because it's not crazy because it's gonna be a great fight or because it's important for the division, but it's crazy because the UFC is basically setting up the hometown guy to get a massive win here, and like this is just a fight that shouldn't be happening. You look at the rankings and you're like, okay, 13th versus 14th, maybe, but like first of all, this is Johnny Walker's first fight since June 2024, where he lost against Volkan Ozdemir. He hasn't looked great in any of his last few fights. He's gotten knocked out 2 fights in a row. The fight before that was also like he couldn't continue because there was an eye poke, and that's why it was a no contest, where he basically just took the easy way out against Magomed Ankalaev and then lost to him by knockout afterwards. And then you have Zhang Mingyang, who has, yes, he's only 3-0 in the UFC, but he's literally knocked out every single person he's faced. He's just coming off a win against Anthony Smith. And sure, Johnny Walker like had some hype in 2023. Some people said he should fight for the belt. And that never happened. But it's 2025. It's 2 years later. Johnny Walker is not the same fighter. He showed he's not the same fighter. And Zhang Mingyang's just going to run through him. Like, I don't see a single way for Johnny Walker to win. He might hit him with like a spinning kick and like maybe, but like even in his fight against Volkan, you saw he was with a new training camp. He didn't do any of the crazy shit he usually does. He's trying to switch up his fighting style to be more dialed in, but it's not how he fights. He's got to go crazy. And Zhang Mingyang's going to like just demolish him. Like I literally see a first round KO here.
Yeah. I mean, Johnny Walker's not any better than Anthony Smith, to be honest. And Johnny Walker is very unorthodox. He is very tricky, and that's what got him wins when he was in the UFC earlier on in the UFC, is this unorthodox style where he was unpredictable, going to throw a spinning elbow, going to throw some crazy high kicks. You didn't know what he was going to do. But now against these sharp technical guys, that's what's getting him knocked out. That's what's getting him to lose fights. So he's coming into this fight. He's probably going to be coached up to be technical, come forward. And Zhang Mingyang's fought so many guys who are better at being technical strikers than Johnny Walker, who's still learning. He's still learning to be a technical striker, where Zhang Mingyang is just climbing. He's going to climb here. This is it's a setup spot. And you're right. This one has under written all over it. This one has knockout written all over it. This has setup written all over it. Zhang Mingyang, he's looked amazing in his last few performances. He puts the beat down on fighters. And when's Johnny Walker ever put the beat down on somebody? He just doesn't. It's not going to happen here against somebody in China in their home crowd. So give me Zhang here. Zhang has been icing guys, but they're not the best competition. It would be like Lewis Towson situation. Walker has been taking some bad losses, though. Could be an exciting first round. Walker could come out. He could throw something crazy, but it's not. Zhang's got a chin. If you don't believe it, you might see here, probably not. I could see Johnny Walker getting under 10 significant strikes in this fight, just being so honest.
Yeah, I don't think Johnny Walker's gonna have any luck here. And I think that like I see the point you're making, narrative combat, with so I'm gonna put this one back up, with this being a Derek Lewis versus Towson situation, but like
I don't
Zhang
agree with
Mingyang
that.
has proven himself more than Taliesin, and Johnny Walker isn't anything like Derek Lewis.
Yeah, I don't even
So
agree with that even a little bit, to be honest.
yeah. We had a
Kind of skipped over.
Zambibler, Johnny Walker come back soon. No. Never forget when he iced Palm Tree. Crazy.
This is see you in long time. See you, bye bye, Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
This is
Khalil Roundtree question mark. I'm assuming you mean like could Khalil be fighting one of these guys next, like a Zhang Mingyang? I don't think so. He's due to fight Yuri Prochazka right now. If he wins that fight, maybe they give him another title shot.
100%. That's literally a number one contender fight.
But if Khalil Roundtree loses, maybe they set up this fight. Like I don't hate that idea. I don't think Dominic Reyes has a fight lined up right now.
Yeah, he does against Carlos Alberg.
Carlos Alberg. Yeah, even that's like a
Khalil Roundtree is not going to be fighting these guys. These guys are at the bottom of the top 15. Like this is just it's not going to happen. Khalil Roundtree's proved he's fought Alex Pereira. He's fought all these guys. He's going to be at the top for a long time.
Yeah, maybe they give him like a top 10 guy like Ozdemir or Guskov next, and then give him a top 5 fight. It just depends how badly Khalil, like if Khalil Tree loses to Prochazka, it's how bad does he lose? You know, same with Dominic Reyes. Like if Dom Reyes loses to Carlos Alberg, how bad does he lose? If he, or honestly, even if Dom Reyes just loses straight up, they might give him Zhang Mingyang next, right? I could see that happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if Dominic Reyes loses, he could probably fight Zhang Mingyang, or the loser of the Carlos Alberg fight, maybe. But then we're just giving Zhang Mingyang a shot up for not really any reason. He's gonna have to fight another three fights until he gets a number one or title shot.
This one narrative combat was saying, when has Walker ever knocked out anyone? I see. You're right. It's just been so long, man. I don't know. Like Johnny Walker, he's just not the same. There was like excitement around him before. I just don't.
True. Maybe the break helps him, but I don't like when fighters take a big break and then they come back and expect to fight against somebody who's surging, who's taking a lot of fights. Zhang Mingyang is active right now, and he has the title front of mind. You know, where Johnny Walker he needs a win to survive and keep his contract. Pretty much, we're not going to see a Johnny Walker resurgence like Dominic Reyes, unfortunately. And yeah, we didn't predict the Michel Pereira fight or the Charles Johnson versus Lonier Kavanaugh, but there are some good fights on the prelims, which I wouldn't mind going over if you want to go over. But
yeah, we can quickly let's pull this up. I actually just pulled it up on my screen. 1 second. Share screen.
Michel Pereira, he's fighting somebody coming off a win, but he also got submitted in his last 2 before that, I think. So, like, can Cal Dukas take down Michel Pereira and hold him there? I don't know if he can. That's kind of what Fluffy did to get the win over Michel Pereira. I'm probably going to pick Michel Pereira in this one. I just think he has kind of old Johnny Walker's skill set where he could throw these crazy spinning shots and unpredictable, unorthodox striking, but he actually uses it effectively. He doesn't switch up on his style, and he's confident, and he builds off his style. So I have Michel Pereira winning that fight on the prelims.
Yeah, I got Michel Pereira as well. You saw me just looking at Kyle Dawkins' fight history. He's fought some good names. He's lost to some good names. Kind of same trajectory as Michel Pereira, but Michel Pereira was on a bit of a win streak before he took a few losses there. I still think Michel Pereira is a really good fighter. I forget who did he lose against that I thought he was like he
Anthony Hernandez probably.
Yeah, it was probably Anthony. Yeah, you're right. And then he just got mauled.
Yeah, he got mauled.
But Anthony Hernandez just proved himself that he's like actually super high level competition as well, you know?
Yeah.
I got Michel Pereira. I just think he's had some unlucky matchups recently where he's taken some losses. He was also in Brazil, not really focused on fighting for a little bit. He was like, there was a big flood in Brazil and he was helping out a lot with that. So maybe that kind of threw him off his game a bit, but I think we'll probably see him get back in the win column. There was this Charles Johnson versus Loner Kavanaugh fight as well. I'm probably going with Loner Kavanaugh. I think he's impressed somewhat recently as well. He's obviously like he doesn't have the experience that Charles Johnson has, but I'm not too hot. I'm always hotter on the young prospect versus like the old guy that's been in there for a while and is taking the beating.
Yeah, he fought a banger of a fight in his last one against Felipe dos Santos. But Charles Johnson's kind of been getting hard matchups recently. His last opponent got busted for PEDs, so I'm not sure if they're going to remove that loss from his record or what's up with that because his last opponent was removed from the UFC. But I like Charles Johnson. He beat Dan Ige, or Joshua Van, who's going to fight for the title. Like, he is a really good striker, and Lovinar Kavanaugh is going to match that style on the feet. But I think Kavanaugh just has a little bit more in his bag when it comes to the wrestling. He's kind of compared mostly to Ilia Topuria, so he has the potential. I love Charles Johnson. I bet on him. He loses, and I cry. So I'm going to be cheering for Charles. Probably if I were to bet on Loner Kavanaugh for this one.
Yeah. It's kind of like, and this is like a bad fight to compare it to, but like Aljo versus Brian Ortega. You know, like Charles Johnson's also like a little bit more of like that old school type of fighter where he's like extremely tough, extremely durable. He's proven himself in the past, struggled a bit in the present, although he does have wins over Josh Van and Sumudaerji recently. But I think Loner Kavanaugh is just like, he's part of the new generation. He's very technical. He's very well-rounded. He can kind of do it all. And I think he's going to get the win here.
Yeah, Charles Johnson almost strikes a little bit like Bobby Green, where he's like kind of standing up straight and he's just very down the middle strikes. Where Loner Kavanaugh, he's going to cut you off. He's going to land big bombs. He's going to even mix in some takedown attempts. Like, his style is very, very good. It's very high IQ, and I think it's going to take him places into the division and climb him up the rankings here. And Charles Johnson is kind of going to be the gatekeeper here for him. And I'd love to see Charles Johnson win and kind of have the trajectory that I think Loner could have. But I think Kavanaugh is going to have that trajectory. I think he's going to get the good fights. He's going to win these crucial fights, and he's going to go on to be a title contender one day, probably.
Yeah, no, I like that. But honestly, pretty decent card for a China card. Like, they actually treated us pretty nicely. A few ranked fights, a few important fights.
Now, you're saying it's a good card, but is it worth waking up or watching from 2 a.m. till 6 a.m.?
No, but there's like there's very few fights that I would wake up like that for. Like, there's a reason they do the Australia ones and the UK ones at like 5 a.m. local time, so that way they can be regular time in North America, you know, because it's just like, why would I ruin my entire Saturday to see Zhang Mingyang knock out fucking Johnny Walker? Like, it is not worth it.
Waldo Costa, new heavyweight contender, potentially.
Love to see it, brother. Love to see it. But that's been Insider Betting. We appreciate you guys tuning in. The chat got active after I gave y'all shit for being inactive, so I appreciate that as always. We got Mike Owens. He's going to break down the fights at 4 p.m. Central Time. So in about 15 minutes here, we're going to upload a video where our head reporter, he's the one who interviews all these big fighters, all these big names in UFC. He'll break down the card, give his opinions. You got Cody. He's going to go live Saturday, I think. maybe not. Maybe not this Saturday, but every other Saturday he goes live. He has a watch party. We'll see what happens this Saturday. Maybe he stays up a little late and he's like, fuck it, let's do it. But if you want to join the watch parties every Saturday with Cody, he goes live for the end of the prelims, beginning of the main card. Pretty good. So
great question. This is where you tell him what time we go live at every week.
Yes, sir. We go live every single Thursday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we go live every Thursday. We also go live every Saturday, like I was just saying, with Cody Talks. He'll be live on YouTube. He'll be live on Instagram, TikTok, Kick, X, whatever the fuck you want it to be live on. If there's something we're missing, just let him know, and he'll go live there too. But as always, hell yeah, perfect lives for the drive home from work. Let's go, Aiden. Keep joining. Appreciate you, brother. But yeah, we'll see y'all next Thursday. Appreciate it.